similar cards, but Fatih, very accomplished. He has been a finalist at the 2016 German Nationals. He has been a champion in the Berlin Arena Cup. He also has a very big YouTube channel you might want to follow. He's a very known player in Germany.
Yes, I hear Fatih is quite the popular fellow, but let's not be sleeping on Nico Alabas. A lovely chap we've seen on stream a couple of times this weekend, winning every time, might I add. And he's just very, very good. And I'm told, and looking at the list, I think this might be the case, that we actually have a 60-card mirror going on.
60 cards, really?
I think we've got exactly the same list. We'll have to check as we go through. Of course, Nico, no stranger to the game. He qualified for Worlds through the Last Chance qualifier in 2014, which I hear only really, really good players are able to do. He got top 8 at Birmingham Regionals, and last year he was so close to getting top 22 in that day 2 invite, but he was 23rd. That's got to be upsetting.
It is upsetting, but it doesn't get more mirror than this. We are in the top 4. One of the players is going to advance to the finals. They have the exact same deck. Both are from Germany. Both know each other very well. We will see who has the upper hand here, who plays better, or he has luck on his hand.
Exactly. And one of the things, and I've played this mirror match a number of times myself, and the thing that always gets me is whether the person going second can get a KO using Blacksmith, but also, and it's something we've talked about with these decks as we've gone through the weekend, whether you can keep this going. Now, they do both play Shaman, which is good, and they both play Scorched Earth, but sometimes you don't draw enough cards using them, and you need to draw cards, and if you really need to draw cards, then you can't use Blacksmith, and that is going to be something we're going to see back and forth throughout this game. Not just whether the person going second can get the first KO, but whether they can keep up with a Blacksmith. And speaking of going, here we go. Nico appears to be going first, whether through choice or whether Fatih asked him to, and he does get turn 1 Kiawe onto Ho-Oh. This is it. This is what you want.
That's a very quick turn 1, so he's slapping down that Ho-Oh onto the bench, 4 fire energy to go with it, and that's going to be it. Fatih is going to be next.
And I'm willing to bet that next turn, Nico's probably going to be able to get a KO using that Ho-Oh GX. I mean, turn 1 is just so good for Kiawe. Now, looking at the prizes here, there's nothing particularly awkward. Nico has got a Ho-Oh prize, but he's got one, so that's fine. Couple of Juniper and a Versus Seeker for Fatih, but honestly, nothing particularly terrifying in the prizes.
Yeah, the Fatih wanted to. He also has the Kiawe in his hand there. Scorched Earth, it's going to be there for the rest of the game. We are pretty much sure, unless someone decides to field blow it away. And the Kiawe is eventually going to come. But first of all, let's have a look at this nice looking Ultra Ball from Plasma Freeze. Fatih is going to make use of that before playing the Kiawe.
Yeah, and he's able to get rid of a Karen, which is absolutely no use in this matchup. He could get rid of the Field Blower, which is not going to sit. I don't think either player is playing any tools, and they both like the Stadium. So Field Blower's kind of a pointless card here. But, of course, getting the Fire Energy into the discard helps with Volcanian's Power Heater. It helps with Blacksmith. So sometimes, even though that Field Blower, I'm pretty sure, is a completely useless card in this matchup. I lied, they're playing 2 Floatstones each. But it's still not great use in this matchup. Sometimes you just want the fire energy in the discard.
Yeah, Fatih is looking through his deck just to make sure he knows what the prize cards are. We've just seen them. Fatih knows them now as well. Nothing too worrying there in the prize cards. And there we go. There's a Kiawe for 4 nice fire energy going on to that Ho-Oh.
But Nico's in a better position here because whereas Fatih started with a Shaman, Nico started with a Volcanian. So if we were, and it's quite a lot to ask for, but if we were able to see a Blacksmith from Nico onto his active Volcanian, he would be able to use Volcanic Heat for 130 and get a 1-hit KO on that Shaman, putting him up 2 prizes immediately. So they've both got their Ho-Oh, but Nico might, if he gets the right cut, as he does get rid of his Field Blower, which vindicates me slightly. I said it wasn't much use. Nico agrees with me, and he's in top 4.
And there's the Guzma, which is even better for Nico, because now he'll be able to promote both Ho-Oh, and that means, of course, Nico going up there. Yeah, and I think Fatih immediately concedes, because that's just too much for him to take.
That's crazy.
Done by Nico.
And we did see the steam up there because, of course, Ho-Oh hits 180 but has 190. That was amazing. And this is why, and I've said this so many times to so many people, you always go first. Even in a game like this where you've got the possibility of having that Blacksmith and getting that turn 1 KO, we saw there Nico going first. They both got the Kiawe, but then Nico was just like, hey, Guzma for the win.
Yeah.
Not for the win, but when you leave your opponent with just a shaman on the field and nothing else.
Yeah, maybe players have flights to catch, so they are hurrying up. Also, the decks, obviously, they are playing cards that accelerate so fast. If there's nothing on the board that you have to clean up afterwards, there's nothing really Fatih can do to respawn. So these decks, Fire is known for its explosive power. In this case, it was just too much for Fatih to take. Now he's going to go first, and maybe he can have the upper hand this time.
Absolutely. They are playing the exact same deck, so there is every chance that he is able to bring it back here. Of course, I mentioned the Volcanian play. I didn't even get a chance to mention the Guzma onto Ho-Oh play because, unfortunately, I just didn't have enough time. That was a super, super speedy game one. And we see here that what both players are going to be trying to do is limit the options of the other. They both know the matchup. They both know exactly what the other player wants to do. Now, we do see a Kiawe, a Blacksmith, and a Tapu Lele here.
We see the most expensive prize cards, that's for sure.
That is a very expensive set of prize cards. You're absolutely correct, sir. And on Nico's side of the board, I'd say slightly better prize cards. Couple of Energy, Blacksmith, versus Seeker, which I'm not going to try and pronounce in German.
Versus Seeker? Kampfahnder.
Yeah. I'm going to leave that one to you, sir. All to you. Now, we do see a slightly more expansive setup from both players to start the second game. They've both got two of their Volcanians. Nico has got that Ho-Oh just waiting for the Kiawe, but of course, he doesn't. He's not going first. So, Kiawe is not as powerful going second, because if you go first, you just get to Kiawe. Whereas if you go second, you've got to give up an attack you may otherwise have had in order to use the Kiawe.
Yeah, for Fatih, the Scorched Earth was huge because he discarded the Fire Energy to draw into another Fire Energy and a Computer Search. Besides the Professor Juniper that he has now, so he has many options now in the first turn. Maybe looking for a Ho-Oh before he goes for Professor Juniper. We'll see in a minute what he's going for.
It doesn't look like he can get both the Ho-Oh and the Kiawe, and that really is the turn one wombo combo you're looking for here. I like Turtonator with Kiawe, but it's not as good, it's not as powerful. So I really am a fan of the Ho-Oh play here. It does look like he's going Kiawe, but as much as I said Ho-Oh is a better Kiawe,